are going to be looking at a new VTT. I mean, it's fairly new. It's been out a while now, but it is still in early access, as you probably saw on the starting screen. We're going to be looking at Talespire.
Solid development speed.
Now, Talespire, a bit of a background. Before I get into the full background, we'll come back to that. We'll circumnavigate. First, IMT, welcome. Run through on the calendar. I'm not going to show you because I haven't had that set up and I'm not prepared for these sort of things.
I have like 10 minutes for this.
I know, but I was trying to get floating faces, okay? This is what you get. So we are on the 13th of August. Tomorrow we have Coriolis at 8 p.m. I believe that's non-streamed.
Yes, because it's green. This is colour-coded.
Great! Now I can continue. On Monday, the 15th of August, we have Dungeons and Dragons, the Greyhawk campaign running in IMT, non-streamed. On Tuesday, the 16th, we have RPG Club. Woo! Little insight for you. One of our RPG clubs will announce in chat.
It
won't be this one. But one coming up soon. We'll announce it probably around the 23rd. There you go. You heard it here first. We'll probably be... Yes. We're going to be looking at the Spelljammer campaign that's coming out from Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast. Is it Wizards of the Coast?
It is. It's official.
Oh, thank God. I was worried that I'd said
Straight from the on Sorcerers of Seattle. All the names are available.
Because later on in IMT, I'm skipping the calendar ahead now. This is what happens when I do the calendar. Later on in IMT, you want to check the calendar. We are going to be doing Spelljammer. So if you're interested in that and you want to listen in, learn a bit of thing, we'll announce when we're doing that on the Tuesday Club, and you'll be all welcome to come and join. Probably be a listen-only session because we need to...
session on the 23rd, and then we'll start on the 27th.
It may be a listen-only session because the GM may need actually to talk to the players ready for the stream. But you'll be more than welcome to
take something else and not steal RPG Club. We'll figure it out.
No, that's fine. Steal RPG Club. That's fine. That's what it's for. What it's for.
No, I just mean if someone else is using it, because I'm only going to be 4 players. I'm not going to mute everyone for it. So
we're not using it for anything else. Anyway, back to the calendar. On Friday the 19th of August, we have Tales of the Infinite. And that's next Friday at 9 p.m. here live on IMT Twitch. Then this isn't wrong now because your campaign has ended, hasn't it?
It has, yes.
Are you doing a recap though?
No, there won't be anything happening on Saturday.
So that's a lie. But yeah, the Muses to Black has ended. I'm sure if any of you want to reach out to the players in Kadari, they'll tell you how it magnificently went.
Yeah.
I'd like to know
reach out to me and ask for secrets that my players do not know, like what happened to Ander.
I want to know.
I will tell someone those secrets. We will see who.
Maybe that's like a revamp campaign to come.
I left it open for you.
Oh, that's nice. Then on Saturday, the 20th of August, we're back here this time next week with Twilight 2000, episode 3?
3? I've lost track already.
I thought it was 3.
It may be 3. I've lost track.
I think it's 3. If you're watching this... Strain says 6.
Strain says 6. Oh, are we not counting the break, mate? Sorry. Episode 6.
We're on episode 6. Clearly, some of them got some catching up to do. If you're watching this over on the YouTube, because everyone likes to watch the YouTubes for Twilight 2000, great show. But if you're watching this on YouTube... Go check out the Twilight on YouTube or any of our other
If you're watching this on
campaigns,
YouTube, watch anything else.
Watch anything else. Do not watch any more of this. You are probably not going to learn anything much productive. Then back to Sunday, we're back on the Coriolis games run again. Monday, we have a Warhammer game non-stream. Tuesday is back to RPG Club. And the cycle goes on and on and on and on. And if you are looking out for something, we have got quite a lot coming up over the next few months. We have Dungeons and Dragons game going to be streamed on Saturday the 27th of August. Jumping into September, we have Masks that's going to be streamed. We have Twilight 2000 going all the way through. We've got our 2nd year anniversary stream towards the end of September. And then running into October, we have Casting the Runes that's going to be making a return. Because I think we've done October. Yeah,
Branding.
Castle in the Ruins is coming back, but it's a brand new campaign. And we've got some Cthulhu Dark coming back, ready for Spooktober. If you want to check out when all of that's happening so you don't miss any of it, make sure you head onto our Discord, join our Discord, let us know that you're there, get involved, or just check out the calendar, say nothing, and leave in about a few months' time. Tends to be what people do these days. But
That was my plan, but then someone caught me out on it.
yeah, we will catch you. If you're interested in getting involved in any of our games here on IMT, do join our Discord. That is the place to go to get involved. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting our YouTube if you're watching it over there. Please give us a like. Please give us a follow. That's all we want. And we'll go and check out our Twitter. There's occasional crap on there. I don't do Twitter. Anyway, that's the spiel. There's the 15-minute spiel that you all have every single stream. Done and dusted. I think I did pretty well. Someone's probably going to message me and say that was the worst one ever, but who cares?
Oh, hang on.
What?
I'm going to message you and say that was the worst one ever.
Great. This is not the Ange and Andy show, and this is not even the Infinity and Kadari show. This is just the two floating men talking about VTT, which we're going to delve into. So,
I mean, the surprising part is our heads are floating at the same height.
that took me 10 minutes.
That took you 10 minutes? Jesus.
That took me 10 minutes.
You know, you can probably like hold shift or something.
Probably, but it kept changing.
Things at the same height.
You're all here to learn about Talespire. Welcome, Talespire. For those of you who don't know what Talespire is, this is a VTT that was released on Steam. It was released on the 15th of April 2021, so it's over a year old. It's supposedly, we're going to find out, a map building feature for GMs and a game running system for the players. Supposed to be really intricate, really beautiful to look at from what I can tell on the trailers and everything. It's still in Steam's early access. It's currently costing £19.49. We will tell you by the end if we think that is worth the value. Kadari here has looked at it. I have not. I am going in as a blank canvas on this.
It is immediately notable that there are several systems like this, in the sense of systems that allow you to make 3D maps, and typically VTTs don't really support 3D maps. So a system like this that also has a VTT inbuilt to support showing your players the maps is a good design point. But I mean, we'll wait to see your opinions on whether it replaces your usual VTT.
Yeah, because it's going to be one of those things. I know there's some GMs out there who don't want this sort of thing. They may have players who are very easily distracted, like all of the players here on IMT.
There's a fine line between sort of using a VTT to tell a role-playing story and essentially playing a video game that also has some guy talking over it. And if you're going for the video game with some guy talking over it, you've already got access to games that handle that better. You could play on Neverwinter Nights. People have been doing that for years. You could play on Larian's new Divinity Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin 2, which have Game Master functions inbuilt, fairly solid ones. But if you're looking for something that's a bit close to a VTT with a map builder in it, Talespire. Or a couple of other things that are similar that are hanging around the same early access point.
I mean, my first impression. Let's start the ball rolling, shall we? First impression. This screen right here is nice. I like it. Okay, this is nice. This makes me feel like I'm ready to play a game.
I have a secret challenge for chat. See if you can figure out why those dice are on those numbers.
19, 1, 3, and a 3. Harry will tell you if you're wrong.
I won't actually, because I don't know. I just want someone else to look it up.
Maybe they don't mean anything. I can't interact with them. I'm trying to click them. Oh, see now I'm taking points off straight away. I would like to be able to play with these dice right here.
If nobody comes back to an answer, I'll ask Paul. He always figures these things out somehow.
So, without further ado, shall we crack in? This music that you're listening to is from Talespire, by the way. So this is all in-game sounds. This is cool. Very relaxing. Oh, I'm clicking begin. Oh my god, a wall of text. I don't like it already.
You have to read.
We have a nice chain log. That's good. We have campaigns. Now, am I going to create a campaign first, or are we joining yours to go? Which way around do we want to do it?
I suggest you create a campaign first, because you wanted to get your first impressions of using and building the system. There is a basic tutorial the first time you enter build mode, but see where you have hiccups first, and then later on when I've built the map that I'm building, we can have a look at a map with features embedded and see what happens.
I've created my first
map.
Name. Okay, so I click on the campaign. Last played, never. Role owner players. Oh, so it's cool. Go delete button. Ooh. I like that. That feels dangerous. I like the safety switch to delete the campaign.
And a little thing you have to flip up off the red button.
Yeah, I love them. It's campaign region. Let's have a quick look at that. We've got EU, Russia, USA East, Canada East, USA West, Russia East, Singapore, India, South America, South Korea, and Australia. Okay, so not loads to choose from.
Well, I mean, that's enough to cover. Like, to cover most server regions in under 500 ping. Unless you're living on somewhere like the Faroe Islands, which you are going to have terrible internet anyway, because you're just so far away from any primary area.
I would prefer an East and West EU, though. You can get a lot of...
Well, EU East is Russia.
Well, no, we don't play with Russia.
Once you're further east than Frankfurt, your eastern server farms are all in Russia or Turkey. And typically that's going to end up being Russia.
That's an explanation of what the drop downs are. So we straight away, so on our campaign, we can easily change our name. Nice to see. Don't appear, see, so no images. I don't think you can put on this. Maybe this is something later, but it'd be nice when you have campaigns. So one thing I do like about Roll20 is being able to put a nice little poster up on your campaign. Makes it easier for me when I've got multiple campaigns to see which one without having to read. Maybe it's just me. I don't like reading. But that's a feature I'd like. Maybe it comes in later, I don't know. But yeah, that's nice. Text is decent. Let's play. Not many options there, though. To edit your campaign. I didn't see a thing to add players. I assume I do it in-game.
Yeah, you'll see it.
So I'm in. I assume this is our table.
This is our tabletop. It is of infinite size. You don't limit your map size, which can be irritating, one supposes.
So we have a library of all our blocks. We have tutorials. See, got views, atmosphere settings, tutorials, players. Oh, there's the invite code and everything. No, there's not the actual invite code before everyone starts trying to join. Campaign and board setting. Oh, straight off the bat. I mean, that's green, but that's definitely yellow. Green button. Like, see that blue matches, that black matches, that yellow, that orange matches, the white matches, but when I click green, that's different green. Right, well,
that's goblin green. That's
white
still
is
paints
bright.
goblin green.
Goblin green. We'll go with the blue. I like blue, so I'm going to start with blue. And straight away, I have realised no music.
Yeah, no music in the...
No music in the game.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word for, game.
The game.
Yeah, we're not going to... Let's move on from that one.
Okay. Stat names. We have a lot of stats. Gotta go fog, vertical fog, atmospheric fog. Can't see anything now. Calm fog. Ooh, I like the darkness. Maybe we shouldn't play with these just yet. Maybe we need to build something. Oh, so we got boards. So I'm going to imagine these are like different scenes that you have. I've gone to board. Ooh. A space to open menus. Oh, so space is a quick menu poppy up, poppy down button. Okay. Pop it down. We've got a little compass. Okay, straight away, I cannot rotate with mouse click. Oh, okay. Rotate with Q and E. Okay.
Be able to rotate with middle mouse drag as well.
Oh, I can. Apologies. Must have been me. It's a middle mouse. Nice rotate. That's good. I like it when it's what you're used to. They're not reinventing the wheel, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
We can change our roles at the top, which is good. We're in build mode, turn-based mode, cutscene mode. Oh, I like a cutscene. So right now we're in Unknown Realm 1, which we can rename up here. So I'm just going to change it to 1. Cool. Set default board. Go to board. Create new board. Add a board copy. Oh, so I'm assuming this is to add in boards from other campaigns that you might be running if you want to duplicate.
Meanwhile, in a different part of the world, Kaydari is working on a map that will look slightly better, quite possibly.
It's slightly better. I've not put anything on it yet. Okay, you're using the cyberpunk. Okay,
someone redeemed Meanwhile.
Oh.
I've made one using medieval fantasy, which is the main asset set. I'm now working on one in cyberpunk as well, just to show.
Which one are you going to show us?
I'll show you both.
Okay,
it's easy enough.
Okay, well I'll just do one in medieval. I will use the medieval. So we've got. I mean, I'm very overwhelmed very quickly with this. This is quite intuitive for me, I think. So we've got all of our different ones. So at the moment they have a medieval fantasy pack and a cyberpunk and sci-fi pack. So have different bits. There's quite a bit of variation on this. I like that door. We're going to use that door. Dungeon walls, harbour pieces, marble palace, merchant. If anyone in chat has an idea of what I should try to build, let me know. I'm happy to take some suggestions here. A Morgoth, vampire lakes, some nature maps, palisades. Does the game actually have any music? I'm worried about chat just sat in silence here. Is there a way
it's
to...
in the atmosphere settings, so top right, bottom one.
Top right.
It looks like a sun. Sorry, top left.
Top left.
I'm left-right blind today. Only today. Bottom option on that list looks like a little sun. And then there's music options in there. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
We'll
Let's
get there
put
eventually.
Wizard's Tale on. Does that play? Yeah, there you go. There we go.
So you can see the DM can change the music per board as well, and change music while they're in the board if a music change needs to be done. You can also adjust how the lighting works in the room at the same time.
Oh, we'll come back to this, don't worry, chat.
In the board, in the table.
So back to what we've got: Ruined Temple, Rural, Sewers, Tavern. I feel like I should make a nice tavern. What have we got in chat? We got Pirate Cove.
Pirate Cove, Haunted Cottage, Vampire Castle, Haunted Vampire House.
Super quiet.
I don't think that's a recommendation.
I have turned the music up.
Well, actually, I suppose that is a recommendation, but not for a map.
Ah, God, Haunt. No tavern, it's too cliche. Okay, and
Vampire Castle could be good because the Morgoth set looks really nice.
Okay, well, let's use the
objects there as well.
So, ooh,
I have done a tavern to satisfy the cliche though. So.
Oh, good. So, I mean, I've got floor tiles here. So, let's pick us. Oh, this is a nice starting. Boom. I have placed the first foundation of our vampire castle. rotate. It looks like the squid monster. Which way round is it? It's either the giant spaceship that came down to destroy the world in Superman, a squid being thrown through the air at high velocity, or a banana with strongman arms. Is there snap? It does appear, so as I'm placing it, I'm getting like this little white outline to show where it wants to snap. So
yeah, there's a grid snap. You can press G to show the grid.
Oh, look at that. Okay. So, I mean, I'm gonna say, out of many, I've played a lot of hours in Sims. This is quite interesting for building wise because for me this is very Sims-esque. Yeah, I don't know if anyone in chat has played The Sims and knows what I mean. We got a nice floor.
There's one person in chat who's played The Sims.
Oh, so I can click and drag and like that. Great way to.
Right, moves.
Oh, so already my floors are out of line. How have I done that?
You can use control to adjust your vertical height.
Oh no, I didn't want that.
Drag an existing thing with control to adjust your vertical height. That's what I meant. Sorry.
How do I? Is it going to be a shift drag? How do I select multiple item move?
There's a little grabby at the top in the little toolbar. You've got a magnifying glass next to it. There's a ghost outline. That'll let you select multiple things.
Oh.
Although it can be a bit fiddly.
Oh, what have I done? I've got copy options now. Oh.
You just cut it. So you're not copying it, but you're cutting it and moving it.
Oh, I don't like this. Okay, well it's... Wait, what? Just copy, paste. Where am I? What?
You managed to create multiple slabs on top of each other.
I don't know.
You can just move them individually. Move them one by one.
I'm now cloning them. God. Okay, so if I... Okay, so delete is not a thing, but I always right-click. Okay. So it's right-click if you want to delete something. Oh, okay, that's a little complicated. But I can easily pick up this item, and now I basically can use it paintbrush. Nice. That's handy, so you don't have to go back into the menus every time if you want to pick up that floor that you were already using.
Yeah, especially if you're using multiple tile sets and you have to go through multiple asset piles to get to all the menus.
I'm gonna do it with it's the banana with the strongman arm. Okay, so let's introduce a wall here. I think that's a good start. So we have. So how do I click no? Do I no? How do I rotate a P?
Middle mouse button. Just clicking. So dragging it into this camera, clicking it rotates.
Okay.
Which, once you get used to it, it feels really good for actually moving around a map. Until you get used to it, it feels really clunky.
A window there. Oh, that's not up against it. Okay. I like that. I don't know the scale. Is there any way? Hey, what do I have to see the scale that I'm building this room to? Because I feel like this is a big room already, and I bet you this is like a foot.
Squares are 5 foot scale, so using traditional D&D scale here.
So these are all 5 foot. That's good to know. So I mean that would look like a door. Oh, I can place it on the floor. Oh. I had control. So if I hold control, I've now lifted up the whole map and I can actually build the walls. Okay, so if I hold control, I can adjust the floor level. Cool. Okay, let's not have loads of windows. I feel like a vampire castle shouldn't have too many windows.
It depends. You're the traditional sort of toasty and sunlight vampires.
Okay, so... And then let's just get brick walls in. Okay, so there is a gap that I see there. But yeah, I can see a gap here, so I'm assuming I'm gonna want to put a floor under it, even though.
Yeah, there are walls with bits of floor attached to them, or you can build walls over the floor, or you can just put extra floor tiles around the outside, like you're doing. So you can build walls into that existing floor tile, but you're cutting off the outer edge of the tile, or you can build walls around the edge and just put a separate floor under them like that.
I see. So I'm assuming there's this. There was. Yeah, there's an option. Okay, so let's redo this. It's a bit. It's pulling. It threw me around a little there just by trying to click on things. So I don't want the wall with a fancy carpet. Is that changeable, or is that? I just need to find the right version?
No, in that case, the floor is determined by the wall. Again, like say, if you just pick a flat wall, you can put it on the inside of that existing tile, and you won't have the gap. It's just if you're putting it on the outside, you're putting it on another tile, practically. There are 6 seasons of Van Helsing on Netflix. Damn. I've got some catching up to do.
You can have a nice trim. Ooh, these are better than windows.
Some tile sets do handle it better than others. For some tile sets, the trim bit of wall, so the trim bit of floor on the walls is fairly bland and fits in with all the flaws in the tile set.
The scrolling goes the wrong way.
That has wonk. It really does. I've noticed that.
I feel like it's intuitively to scroll along this menu to go that way. You feel like you should scroll down.
Yep.
But you don't. You scroll up. I don't want that. I mean, it's just getting used to it, to be fair, but
it's getting used to it, but it's wrong.
So wrong. Okay, so how do I do a corner? I take it it's going to be. Oh, there is indeed corner piece. Oh, wow, that's... Okay, so that's fucked already. Oh no, they do a little corner, my mistake. There you go. Oh, well, there we go. Corner. And then we go back to our walls. So you can click on these, and that scrolls to you, that's handy. Oh, no. It's... Ooh, I like these windows. Okay, we're gonna have a window side. Little fancy curtains. Hey, there we have 2 walls. I think that's enough. We could always add more walls, because I suppose in this you're building everything. Right. I mean, I'm assuming this has layers. And I've seen in the trailers you have multiple levels and that, but
you can do it on multiple levels. The cutaway tools don't work that well in early access, and I'm not sure if they're on the roadmap. I prefer to do each level as a separate board, just because it works better than the cutout tools. But you can try both ways for the sake of showing off the cutaway. It's not great.
Down the stairs. Gonna have a set of stairs here. Oh, look at that. There we go. Oh, that's so hang on. There you go. There's the snapping up. Okay, and then, so I can favoritize things? Don't why what that's for. And we're going to imagine there's a quick do thing. I can get rid of these. I can just grab this and delete it. I meant to just copy that. The snapping's good. I mean, I've just fucked it. As I said, the snapping's good.
Let's start.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little getting used to, but the snapping's good. I built my stairs too. Oh, I don't know how to do stairs. Maybe you just do this level. Oh, oh. Okay, I've now got. This is all going to shit so quickly, guys. I've now got a new level. I don't know how this happened. Go back. Oh no.
Use control while you're holding something to move your build level down.
It's.
Make sure you move it down far enough because your build level's always the bottom of the tile.
Why? Yeah, but when I'm let go now, it's stuck to this level.
There might be something else underneath it's clipping on. You know, like in The Sims, where if you build to a surface, it clips to that surface.
Oh. What did you do?
You might be building to a lower surface. Croy,
So
maps
that's how you
are
order.
Croy, maps are... players have access to the same camera tools, so maps are played in full 3D. The GM can choose to restrict the player's camera access at any time, but typically players will be able to move in 3D through the map using the 3D camera.
I should say, if you have any questions, do ask them in chat, and Kadari will answer them better than I ever will.
Bong, we are looking at Talespire, which is a 3D mapping tool and virtual tabletop for playing said 3D maps. It's in early access. It's currently got a medieval fantasy tile set with a couple of variants, and a cyberpunk tile set they've just introduced, like 2 days ago. Just introduced.
I'm gonna put like a wall here. It is. I like it. I feel like I'm gonna have to spend time to maybe get used to it, but it'd be interesting to see like how clean as a player you would have to do this so that the players don't go, yeah, I can see the fuck ups that you made making this map. I mean, you get that in any VTT. How many times have I had to go at your fucking grid lines?
Well, that and similarly, you get there's only so many assets you can put into a VTT like this. Into a mapping tool like this. There's only so many assets you can put into any mapping tool. So eventually players are going to be able to, spot some and say, hang on, you've used the same chair 12 times. Because you only have access to 3 or 4 chairs that fit your vision, for example. There's always going to be a limit because you're using pre-built assets.
Yeah. I'm not. This staircase is going off, so chat, don't judge going off to the next floor like a little entrance. I feel like already though, I have done a better map here than I've ever done in any other VTT in this same amount of time. It is quite intuitive. I do like this. So we got floors, we got walls. What else have we got? We got pillars. Ooh, fancy pillars. Oh, I can just shove them on here. Oh, look at that. I like that. That's nice snapping. Nicer pillars. Put roofs on. I'm not even going to attempt to do a roof. If you want to do a roof, try it.
I've done a roof to example the cutaway tool actually, because it's not great, but it's a good example of how the cutaway tool works.
Have I done any maps in other VT? Yes, I have. To be fair, like a lot of the, like something like Roll20, a lot of the time, like I've either bought the maps and then implemented onto Roll20, but Roll20 does have libraries that you can buy that has like this, where you have loads of different bits and you can kind of put them together. I mean, they're not just Roll20. I think some people have created files where you can just build your own maps. The problem I will say with Roll20 is, rather than Roll20 is great if you have a map and you upload it and put a grid to it. That's it. If you start having multiple bits of the map that you're building in Roll20, I've found very quickly you get to a point where you will make most of your players lag the hell out.
Oh yes. There's definitely a degree to which you can build a map from assets in something like Roll20, just because it's not really built for that, and you're not... Like, if you upload a map, you upload it as a single image. You load one image. If you build something from tilesets into Roll20, you load 50, 60, 70 images of all the bits you've stuck on there. It takes longer to load. Even though those are small images, they are separate files and they have separate file headers. It just takes a lot longer to load compared to building it in a mapping tool, or even building it in Roll20, taking a screenshot of it and making it a single image. Just having that single image saves you a lot of time on the download, and it's something especially to consider if you have players on lower-end machines or players who aren't even playing on a full PC or a laptop, players who maybe access the VTT through an iPad, who they can load Roll20 fine, they can load a basic image fine, but they might have more trouble loading something with such a large footprint, especially on an iPad because the storage quota on iPads is terrible. But it's definitely... It's sort of something to consider per your player base. Like, you wouldn't choose to use a 3D mapping tool like this for a player base where players are using iPads or slower laptops.
Okay, the snap is not working on the props. Going on here.
Snapping on props is a bit weird. There's a lot of press X, hold X, snap to surface.
Nope.
It doesn't always work. Nope. I tend to find when I'm doing mapping,
if I spam it, it moves it.
There's a lot of holding control, holding shift, moving about, just to make micro adjustments to surface levels a lot of the time.
Yeah, the whole seem to work great.
Speak slow, think hard.
Yeah, yeah. Slipping off the floor here. I've got a fountain in my vampire castle. Ha ha ha.
Is it a fountain
of
blood?
No, I don't. I would like it if it had the ability for you to change things like that. That'd be cool.
It's a fountain of disappointment, then.
What else? So we got lots of little assets here. Got fish. Wood. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to go. If you're making this, you don't want to be spending hours making sure every little detail's right, because you know your players are going to get caught on those little details.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, right? If I wanted to fuck my players in a campaign, like, all I'd have to do on a map would be like put something like this here. And they would focus the shit on that.
Yeah.
They would literally be, what's this egg on the floor?
And it's something I tend to find myself considering a lot as well. If I'm trying to implement a tool like this into my workflow as a GM, I have to question how much time it's going to take me to produce this map. And there is an import facility, but obviously this isn't like flat images. You need to know how to use Talespire to make maps for Talespire. So you've got a much lower... Oh, that's fancy. I just turned back into the stream. You've got a much lower number of maps to import in the first place, because you've not got everybody who draws map images and puts them on the internet. You've only got people who make Talespire boards and put them on the internet.
Yep. I mean, I do like the idea of being able to place shit. I'd like more fine-tuned rotation. Yeah, that's the only thing I will criticize straight off the bat. Is like I can fine tune its x-axis, and I can fine tune its y-axis, but I'd like to rotate it on the Z. You know, maybe you don't want the book to be perfectly placed and slightly skewed.
Yeah, you want one to lean on top of something else.
Yeah, I don't want all my props to be in 90 degrees of each other.
And as Russ says, the tiles are a bit samey, which is, to a degree, something you want to accomplish in a tile set, to say, this tile set matches. But when you're covering, like that floor you've got now, when you're covering such a large area, it's very easy to see that the assets repeat because you only have access to sort of 4 walls and 4 floor variations.
Yeah.
And if you need to put too much stuff in to cover that, it then becomes a very busy map that doesn't really say anything because you've just got objects covering where you didn't have assets, essentially.
I mean, let's be honest with that, though. Is if you were playing any other game, how many assets do you get in other games? Like if I that's not offset. If I run any game, the maps that I've got usually don't have much detail to them. And the ones that you do have a lot of detail are pre-made that people have done, and even then you see repetition because it's like if ever you've seen a game where someone's in an office. Every office desk is the same. Like
well,
you
might have desk everywhere in the world is the same.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's that thing of
when I was moving into a new office a couple of years back, before everything hit the fan, they asked us if we wanted some furniture for the new office that we were furnishing, and they took us up to the top floor, and the top floor of this office building was basically a massive warehouse that was just stacked with rows and rows of the same office desk. Like, probably 300 desks just in rows across this warehouse, and a bunch of the exact same blue office chair. And it felt like I was in asset pack for a VTT. Just all these office desks, absolutely identical. And they said, yeah, how many do you need? How many chairs do you need? And we'll have someone bring them down for you. That was weird, but...
I mean, yeah.
But at the same point, if you're using a 2D map making tool, I use Dungeon Draft for pretty much all of my mapping. I can add any 2D assets that anybody's made into that. So somebody draws a table, makes it a PNG so it's got transparency on the back. I can stick that into Dungeon Draft and use that. I can't do that with Talespire because it's 3D, because it needs models in a very specific format in 3D. I can't just drop assets made by anybody. Again, it limits it down to people with a certain skill set, people who are specifically making assets for Talespire.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, most of my maps in Dungeon Draft, a lot of the maps you made for Mutants Masterminds, you could see where similar assets were, because everybody's working with a limited asset set.
It's kind of like playing Sims. Like, there's so many options, but even so, it's not long before you see the same things over and over again. I mean, Talespire, from what I can see, they are adding more stuff in, and it's not DLC so far. I mean, eventually I'll be surprised if they don't get to that point where they say, right, we're going to do this pack, but you're going to have to pay extra for it if you want access to the pack.
Well,
which you know
a lot
what?
of this is coming from the Kickstarter as well. So when they originally made the Kickstarter for the initial sort of boost to make the game, stretch goals on that were more asset packs that essentially have been paid for and are therefore free to everybody. When they've got through that list, it's possible they will reach the point of saying, now we need sort of, if you want to get a new asset pack, you'll have to pay £5 for the new assets. Because a £5 purchase for everybody overall makes up for the development time taken for that asset pack.
Yeah, and it's one of them. I've always been a bit of a fan of DLC, but it's as long as it's worth it. Like if you're paying £5 to get a new floor, one tile,
yeah,
if you got to value it, and also how often and how useful is that DLC? I think one of the examples I would say here is something like Space Engineers DLC. If anyone's ever seen Space Engineers game, great game. Their DLC is £5 every time, and every time they do a little DLC, there's quite a good chunk of it in for that £5. Like, come on, £5 is it's not a huge amount for a bit of DLC, but you still expect, several items. And I think with that, Space Engineers, they've always made sure there's good quality, and it is good quality for the few items that you get for that. Sims DLC, no. Will I carry on buying Sims DLC? Yes. Do I think I get value from a lot of it? No.
But it does come back to the same point, though, that what Russ was saying is a lot of these tile sets look samey.
Yes.
Would you pay that money for a new tile set just to have something different in your maps? If you're using a lot of, if you've done a lot of sessions in castles or in vampire palaces, since is what we're doing, they're all going to start looking the same because you only have so many vampire palace assets.
It's one of them is like, let's be realistic, right? Go from one house to another. You're going to see the same shit in one person. In real life, go from one house to another. You might get slightly different furniture, but a lot is going to be the same shit that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Is it vital to the campaign? No. I genuinely don't think my players are going to shit on me on the campaign because we go into another castle that has the same textures. If it's the exact same layout, yeah, okay, fair enough. Come on. Mix it up a bit, change the map. If you use the same castle map in a campaign every time you ran that campaign, your players would probably get a little bored of that. A lot of the... For some people in these games, exploration is a vital part, and then being able to explore the maps and areas that you've created. Are they bothered if it's the same floor tile on every single map that you generate? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's nice if you've got a few variations, which bear in mind, all of these are just part of the vampire that you're looking at. There was a lot of different packs. Kadari will probably show us a bit more of the variety. I'm literally just trying to make a vampire dungeon, so all my stuff is going to look like a vampire dungeon. I dare say in this...
Also, you have a couple of floor tile options there. We can see you've used the... What do you call it? A banana with strongman arms?
It's a banana with strongman arms, yeah.
Okay, and you've used this bland tile around it. But there isn't an easy tool to replace some of your bland tiles with other tiles to make that sort of a bit more variance across your bland tile section. Like the whole section on the left where your fountain is, where it's all the same tile for a large part. And there isn't an easy way to flip that and have a bit of regular tile, a bit of banana tile or whatever. You need to individually go in and replace some tiles to break up that pattern.
While you're just saying that, I've decided I'm going to put a nice carpet in at my fireplace.
That's a fire hazard.
It's a feckin' vampire castle.
Vampires are not immune to fire.
Imagine having a fire drill with vampires. You've got to exit the building, there's a fire. It's daytime. One thing I will...
here, or you can burn out there.
Hey, there you go. I've broken it up a little bit by just adding that. I will say, I think that's dog shit that doesn't connect. That
doesn't look right, no.
Looks terrible. But I suppose, as a counter argument, it does make it look very obvious where this grid is.
That is true.
So, yes, I would expect that to be a nice flush carpet, but at the same time, what is this for? This isn't me showing my family, oh, this is the house I'm going to live in. No, this is me running a game where they do need this grid. So maybe that's not the worst thing. So just on the variety side of things. So just looking at this pack that I'm in at the moment, the Morgoth pack. So floor tiles, we have a whole selection of carpets to make any sort of shaped carpets that I can quickly think of. Fancy stones, I have a curved section of fancy stones. I have a nice embossed one, slightly different embossed, a plain dirty one. Ooh. The banana with strong arms, 4 bananas with strong arms. That's looking more like that. What was it out of James Bond? Anyone know?
James Bond had bananas with strong arms.
In the new James Bond with Daniel Craig, that's like the bad guy symbol.
Spectre.
Yes, there you go, Spectre. It's the Spectre symbol.
Spectre's symbol is not a banana with strong arms.
It is now, and you're not going to see it any other way. So straight away, so just looking on that Morgoth, so these are all the floor tools. So, okay, not great, a lot of variation, but that's nice, and you could mix that up a bit, but that's one. So then we've got merchant floor tiles. Floor tiles. I mean, it's technically a table, but you could use that as a floor tile, I think. No one would notice.
It should be labelled at the bottom. There's a floor section and a wall section.
It just says dot.
Helpful. That could be because you've scrolled slightly further down.
No,
I need them to be multi-purpose.
Literally, I can't. If I click on... No.
Floor tables. Floatables.
Just dot. Marble Palace. Oh, now, I tell you what. I'd have loved to have been playing with this. Oh, I'm going to be playing with this again. So, the marble selection, straight away, got big blocks. That's not a floor, that's a wall. Got a nice selection of marble. Harbour. Okay, so we got some pier settings, which, these are still floors, so, this will break up a map sort of thing. You can see there's a lot of different textures. I'm not going to pull them all out. Then there actual dungeon steps. That looks the same. I think that was me. Some corner. Okay, so there's not lots on the dungeon side, but also there's a cracked flag. You can mix it up. I mean, it's kind of like base Minecraft, isn't it? How pretty can you make the house in Minecraft when you've only got so many blocks? Make it look pretty. Not doors. Desert floor tiles. I mean, because you don't have to use these in the category they use it. If you're creative, unlike me, you probably could mix and match this from one tile set to another. I don't know why that's classed as a floor. That's a pillar. It's telling me that is not part of the floor category, but it's there. That's just the dot category. That's the we haven't thought of which category that goes in. Nice cobblestone. That's nice for making a little path. Big bits. Cavern lava. So straight off the bat here, I'm gonna say there's a nice bit of variation. Maybe if you're just gonna refine it to a castle, maybe not. But I think for building multiple worlds, I definitely would say there's a lot of variation here that you can play with. Like I say, I could introduce this marble into my castle, make it look pretty. You could easily be like, oh, I don't know what I've done, but I've lost everything.
You pressed N.
Oh.
November.
Nope. I just right-clicked, and all my furniture has now ascended into the heavens when I zoom in.
You've lifted all of your objects away. I wonder if that's because you're on tile placing, so it's moving all the objects so you can place floor tiles.
Could take it. Well, that's handy. I mean, I don't know how I did that. Don't ask.
Did that happen before?
And I don't know how to get back. Oh, there you go. I just adjust this little thing here. So on the right here, I'll show you this chap because I'm still working this out. So on the right we see, so we have a marker thing so that's like drilling down between the levels, which would be handy, if you've got multiple floors. So that's cool.
Bad version of cutaway tool. Well, no, sorry, that's the good version of cutaway tool.
You have a height. director, so you can choose which height you want to build at. Then you have the water, so we can flood the whole castle.
We can.
I like
We'll
that.
be showing you that later because I've got a dockside tavern built.
And then we have our camera. So that's a nice little tool there. So here you go. So straight away, like I've added this in, this floor tile into my vampire castle. Still part of the vampire castle. I think it works well. Cool. Tavern floors. Oh, I want to see your tavern. I can't wait for it. Sewer packs. Rural.
It's not that good.
Oh. Don't disappoint me like that. We've got rural, ruined temples. What? Why is... That's a carrot symbol. I don't know what that's meant to be. Random hieroglyphs. Palisades. Nature. So that, on the basis, and that's just under the medieval fantasy category. You've then got the whole cyberpunk category. Brick buildings, chambers, concrete buildings, constructions. Hey, Superwolf, how you doing? Nice doors, fancy facilities, spaceship hulls, industrial hulls. I mean, you could steal some industrial stuff for a vampire castle if you wanted to have that secret underground factory sort of thing.
Redley in chat points out this is designed to recreate the feel of playing around a table with miniatures.
Yeah.
With actual 3D walls and such, which isn't the same sensation you get from maps in 2D. And you'll see that a bit more when we start working with the miniatures and moving around with the miniatures as well. They very much recreates that feel of moving actual miniatures around the table.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a different goal than a 2D map, I suppose.
I don't see... I'm going to be a 9 now. Don't see a vampire coffee.
Superwolf, it is not free. It's currently $19.49, did you say?
19.49 on Steam as of right now.
19.49 in British pounds, or whatever Steam thinks your regional pricing should be. And the stream we are going through is... this is Infinity's first time looking at it, so you're hearing his opinion of how he's liking it as he goes. I've used it a little bit before, but go back and watch the rest of the stream and figure out what he says. Or wait until the end and we'll sum it up for you.
I mean, and so far, I have to say, I like it. I definitely feel like it's going to take a little getting used to, learning some of the controls, but so far, out of all the map builders that I've done for some games, and I've not done loads, so I'm open to the fact that there could be something out there. This is nice. This is very much on par with building house and Sims and building games like that. This is quite easy. There's a nice snapping function. Funnily enough, when I first placed down an item, I was annoyed that there wasn't snapping. But you know what? The more I think about it, I hate it when items snap. Floor snapping and wall snapping is great because you're really not going to go off the lines there. But being able to place items freely is great. It would be nice if it had the option. I mean, it says it has an option on objects, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything when I press the button. I mean, so this fountain is 4 pieces. It didn't snap together. I feel like that's nice. It's obvious that it's maybe not one piece, but it still looks good. I think. Don't judge. Okay, so I've got a coffin in my vampire thing. I think this...
On the fire hazard rug.
He likes to keep warm.
Sure.
Ooh, spiky.
When he's burning to death, we'll remember that.
Well, it's probably not the most sensible vampire. Maybe it's winter. And he has to struggle to pay his bills too, guys. Okay, so this is what they do when they can't afford to run the heating for the castle. Yeah. Ooh, we can make it really dark and dungeony. I like this. Random tentacle holding a triangular thing. Yes. Oh, I like it. I don't think that fits in with vampire. Oh. Torture bed? Defo is a vampire thing. They're gonna bring back some people to torture, 100%.
Superwolf Talespire comes with its own functionality to add, its own VTT functionality essentially. So players would come into Talespire and use the movement tools and camera tools within Talespire to look at 3D grid. I wouldn't really be looking to export maps from this into Roll20 or Foundry, whether specifically for 2D functionality. Yes, all players have to own it.
That is something I was going to come to. I mean, we could ask the question. So, all players have to pay for the game to have it? That's a bit annoying, because, I mean, I get it. I mean, I suppose it's one of them, is you're not just viewing the map, are you? You're going to interact, you're going to have some playability. It is like an actual game.
As well. Because you have all the functionality to play the game. So you have dice rolling, you have vision cones, spell templates and such. They are all things that will help you to depict the game at that point. But even so, perhaps for players who aren't going to be using the mapping tools, the price point is somewhat high for a player who's only coming in to play.
There you go.
Redley, we've not tried YAG, but we did discuss at the start, there are several other systems that function in largely the same way, several other systems for 3D mapping, for playing on a 3D game board.
I placed the cat, I cannot pick the cat again.
The cat remains.
Cat also looks weird now, because it's got this... Ooh.
You'll have to switch to play mode to interact with placed miniatures.
Oh. How do I do that?
That stream. You know the buttons at the top that you found at the start?
No.
The ones that shift you into cutscene mode and such.
Oh, yeah. Turn-based mode? Or do I go into cutscene?
You need to use turn-based mode, and then you need to come out of build mode by hitting B. Well, I think you can do it from exploration mode, actually. You just come out of build mode first. Hit B to come out of build mode, and then you should be able to interact with your tokens. There you go.
That does... Yeah.
And then you can right-click the token to get the options to get rid of it. I believe. Then you can see all the things that the cat can do.
Ah, there we go. Right.
Now that Tony's happy, you can delete the cat.
I wouldn't say she's happy, I just knocked the cat out. That's some nice tokens. I mean, let's have a look at the token. I mean, I think I've shown it. Let me get this straight. This is not a full in-depth of this game. We're just looking over it, just having a brief interlude. The building looks great. If you want to see and play around with it, I don't know. You get it and have a look, sort it yourself. There's probably an online guide somewhere that shows you all the bits and how. I mean, I've kind of flicked through most of it.
There's several online guides somewhere.
Oh, the spiders, I don't like spiders. So, models. So, this is an important thing because, even if you have a blank map, you can play a game if you have decent models, right? Tokens. And I think Roll20 has libraries of tokens. I'm going to change the music a bit as well whilst I'm talking. I think we've heard Wizard's Tale now for over an hour. Tokens are really important for a game. I mean, that does sound good. I do like having some ambient music in the game. That's very nice. I mean, I am a big fan of using Sirenscape, but it's nice that it has it in, because that's something that Roll20 doesn't. It has a player, but you have to put your own shit in. I don't think it has presets, does it?
In the Roll20 jukebox, I don't believe so, but there's free stuff on the market. It's a bit of the... It's the same with a lot of things in Roll20, that nothing comes pre-installed, but there are free options on the market that you'd have to navigate into the market and download.
So let's have a quick look at the tokens. So we got, oh my god, Mark's gonna love this. We have aberrations, and that looks like a Cthulhu. Can I
Aberrations.
do aberrations? If I press B. Oh, cool, so I can see these a bit nicer. Oh, it's not Cthulhu. Some sort of squid thing though. Oh look, he's sad. So sad. Roll20 has access to 3 audio libraries for free, mostly music. Okay. I've never really played with Roll20 music, to be fair though.
Never really played with Roll20. Thank you for providing information.
Thank you. Okay, so I like the fact that it lights up the tokens with a little disc. That's a nice little thing. Token you're currently selected. We've got some aberrations. Josh, correct me. We have some varied animals. Snakes. Grumpy toads. Bunny. Bats. There'll always be a bat in a vampire thing. A dinosaur. Yes. A goose. Why not?
That sounds like a vampiric creature, yeah.
And we have some celestials. Okay. Some constructs. Just a hammer. Piece of goo holding a hammer. Some demons.
Lightness and goo hammer.
Dog with fire, little imps. Dragon folk. Dwarfs. I would like to know, and I don't know whether this might be a thing, but it might be a thing that happens, is would this be compatible with importing your own 3D models? Say, like, if you built your character on Hero Forge, would you bring it in?
I don't believe it currently is, although it's been a while since I looked at it. It's possible it could be. I mean, I don't know if it's using a standard library, it's using a standard system for a standard format for models. There'd definitely be a way to drop a model on. I assume it would then go onto one of those predetermined bases because the bases have their own functionality.
Yeah.
Bases have all the lighting up and such, but I can't see why you wouldn't be able to add a model to the system and then have it load onto one of those miniature bases.
Yeah, I agree with you, Super Wolf Leo. It's like, if that was the case, I would build my character on Hero Forge and pay to get the files to import it into something like this.
I don't have that information to hand, but
I feel like a game like this would be missing out if it didn't. Like, with the fact that it is fully rendered to that scale. I mean, I'll be honest, I literally, this is what I saw when I looked at these characters, I thought, wow, that reminds me of Hero Forge characters.
Was the hero scale? Yeah, they promised to produce fresh asset packs each month, and they've kept up with that for various definitions of what the size of asset pack is. But they're adding stuff each month. There's nothing mentioned about. Redley confirms they're working on something called Tailweaver to import your own models.
Yeah, Redley's just mentioned that. That'd be nice. Can you only use their assets imports we do? That's what we were just talking about, Sleeping Bell. We were literally just wondering whether or not that would be a thing we can do.
We were just going through the Sleeping Bell. Currently, you can only use their own assets. Their asset pack is somewhat wide. It is about 150 miniatures, 750 tiles currently. They've just added a cyberpunk pack. But obviously that still limits you if you're looking for something that isn't exactly already there. So we would hope they'd add something more. We're not quite sure yet. It sounds like at one point they were working on it. I'm not sure if they're still working on it.
Of course. I didn't realise, Leo, but now you said it, I have realised, yes. Hello. Yes, I remember your streams.
I don't remember most people's names, so I'm going to just hop past that one and pretend I didn't notice.
Big giant. I feel like they would be missing.
Pretty sure that's a regular sized giant.
I'm just looking. So I was wondering how do you rotate the characters, but I have just realised that this is a cool thing. When you pick up a token and you move it, it orientates from where it was.
Give it wobble.
Which for movement, that's nice. Does it follow a round thing? Like if I was to pick it up and go around a wall, no. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's nice. You just drop it and then pick it up. Wow, I like that. Yeah, the screen shake that does add some weight behind that. I think as you move around, that would be cool for your players to see the whole map wobble every time the troll shakes. That you're right, Mianova. That I like that little feature there. I wonder if there's bigger ones that like make bigger shakes.
Bigger giants? Unheard of.
We've got giants, we've got gnomes, goblins, half demons, half orcs, halflings, humans. Well, there's a lot of humans.
Sleeping Bell, we've just built this map over the course of the stream. There aren't preset maps, but there is a way to import maps that other players have built. There are systems, there's a website in place where players can share maps. So you could grab a pre-made map that someone else had built.
Can I scale the size of the mini? That's an interesting one. We'll just run through the rest and then we'll have a look at what options we get on the tokens. You got all your bards and everything. So there's plenty of humans. Clearly everyone plays a human. So there's good options there for different classes. Humanoid. Okay, cool. A little jester. Monstrous. You get... Oh, I love the... don't remind me what they're called.
Okay.
Yes, mimics. Thank you. No one told me. I saw. Super, you did say it in chat. I didn't. I swear I didn't look. And they've got a normal mimic, but I like the Christmas mimic. Christmas special in my head already. Orcs and undead, and then there is also cyberpunk, astronauts, citizens, lawmen, and street. Let's have a look at what you can do with each token. Super will raise a great one, which is scaling. Is that a thing? So if I right click, I can give them the ability to fly. I like this. It makes the base go invisible, and they now hover. I like that. That's cool. So you can literally have your angelic things flying. Oh, and the back. I mean, it's already flying, but now it's flying even more. Oh, that is nice. That's sweet. I like that. What else? What other options we got? Morphs. Don't get what this is.
If you have a character like a druid, you can bind alternate version. You can bind other tokens onto that token, essentially. So you can allow your druid player to swap their own token into...
So if you had bear form sort of thing.
Yeah.
I like that. That's great. Kill menu. Kill creature. Oh, it just deletes the creature. Okay, well, we've lost that dwarf. Bringing this woman. DM tool. Make unique. Player permission. Base. Ooh, base colors. Oh, yeah.
Yep, so you can call the bases.
Rename. Player permissions. Set size. There you go. Oh, wow, yes, so there you go, Superwolf. As you asked, you can rescale. It is set scales by the looks of it. Again, so you've got 4x4, 3x3, 2x2, 1x1, and a 0.5 if you want a really small character. That's handy. That's a nice little quick. Don't want to rename, sorry. GM tools, make unique, set size. Now, here's my question. So, if I take a normal character and make them into a giant size, does that gain the bang as they move? No.
Disappointed.
What if I make it like really... Oh, there you go. I've made it 3. It is now making the screen shake. And if I make a giant size, the big size, it's still the same shape. I would have expected a bigger shape. Yeah. But yeah, you can definitely change the size. Definitely a good thing. Background 1. I take it this... So it doesn't automatically snap to grid. I assume that's a GM set. Elevate. Oh, rotate creature, alt. Okay, there you go. I can rotate. Great. Elevate. Whoop. And then fall back down. Okay. That's... Yeah. What other options we've got? So GM tools, we can change the colour, we can change size, we can make unique. I don't know what that does.
Force this to only be one of that token on the maps. For your players, mostly. Your player tokens, maybe your big bads. So if you try to drop that character on the map again, you won't be able to make 2 copies of it, so you won't have the player in 2 places. You also have a special pop-out in the top right that tracks your unique creatures, so you can easily get to your player tokens again if you need to.
Oh. Handy having Kadari here. And then we can rename player permissions. I can give it to me, so I now have that. I assume other players would appear if you wanted to give them permissions. Hide. We can hide them. How do I know where they are? Oh, I mean, I'm just stuck on this radio menu now. Oh, I've selected it off. I've lost that character.
Some of us know where they are. Chat, if you know where the character is, let him know.
This is where I would hide it and they'd move. So how do I unhide character? Josh?
That's for me to know, and I don't actually know.
Okay, so you can hide your characters, which I assume is great if you want to spring a trap on your players. I'm going to imagine there's a way to unhide them. There's got to be a view. Oh, I can see them in build mode.
There you go.
But I can't interact mode.
Well, can you interact in build mode if... Oh no, you can't turn building off in build mode, that would be silly. Yeah, fair enough. But I suppose if you know where it is in build mode, then you mouse over it, go out of build mode and just click in that spot.
Nope.
Impressive. I don't know, no, try to hide a mini. Something for us to look into later.
Well, there was a mini here, and that mini has gone.
Somewhere in here, there is a gnome rogue, stealthing so hard that you can't see it.
Oh yeah, upper left-hand corner menu maybe. I don't know.
I can't see in any of the menus.
Atmospheric setting. I'd expect that there should be like a view menu, shouldn't there?
Creature snap to grid is an option, by the way.
Oh, it's an option that you set.
I just found it while I was looking for how to figure out where you've put this gnome. That's a bit funky, actually.
We have lost. We'll move on. Kadari, if you can find, if anyone or Kadari can find out how to get my character back, that'd be great. I can show that on stream on how to bring a character back from the dead. Meanwhile, we'll continue on. Enable torch. Oh, they've got torches. Be nice if you. I'm not seeing anything to set to torch brightness, but those that will be different status. Not down. Scene. You can have little uglies, attacks, green laser. Something just shot it with a green laser. What the? Oh, because I've selected this. Like, so if you've got now I'm gonna get this.
That mimic is casting magic missile.
let's not get a halfling. Let's get a wizard. As a wizard, I can select my token and then right-click on another token and cast magic missile. Oh,
Fire a green laser.
I like it. What's the normal attack? Oh, they just kind of...
It's just no animation.
Red laser.
Do a wobble.
Okay, that's cool. Magic missile, definitely. I know, I'm sold. How far does that work? Magic missile the dog from a distance?
Yeah,
Oh, he dodges things.
It's just... That's classy. It's just a way to sort of identify what you're attacking, I suppose. A way to show your target and add a bit of flavour there.
Yeah, that definitely would add flavour. Oh, I like it. What else?
I see people in chat trying to convince people to buy the game.
That's... Yes. I mean, I have to admit, I'm not fully through this, and I'm sure there's plenty more features. From what I've seen so far on this stream, I'm sold. I mean, I've already bought it. But
you don't need to be sold. You're not the market here.
But I have to admit, I am very interested, because I think we were talking about this in one of our Tuesday clubs about whether or not we could maybe even run a game on this, which is what we're going to look at in a moment when we look at Kadari, what Kadari is set up for us. But straight away, I feel like this is definitely worth running a campaign in. I definitely feel like this, for me, for someone who, I know there's some people like that who don't like it, but for me, I do appreciate the visuals. This is nice. I would love to play a game in this. Because we were looking at like using Divinity Reach to run games as well. Not Divinity.
No, Divinity Original Sin. Divinity's Reach the city in theory.
I knew I had it somewhere. So you got stats. And we've got random stats, which we can see in the... Where was it? Campaign settings. So you can set your stats, which is handy. I like this. Because this is essentially allowing you to use different game systems on this game.
Yeah.
So you can define the stats. So say your stat is there. I'm guessing this, by the way. But I'm thinking...
Although it is worthwhile to note as well, given that you only have 8 stats tracked on a character, you're probably going to want at least one of those to be a health pool, one of those to be an armor pool, maybe 2 armor pools, depending on the system you're running.
Each token has its own health. You don't need health. Health is not a stat.
Oh, health is separate now, isn't it? Yeah, it was. It was at one point a stat. Hello. There's a large crane fly that's just flown into guest star on the stream. Just see if I can coax it away.
I don't know how you set the health.
Bye-bye.
Hello, fly. I mean, how do I set the health?
You can just click on the texts.
Oh. I don't know why I didn't try that. Yep,
that would seem to be the logical
50,
approach.
50. Cool, so you can give 50. Okay. So I'm going to imagine, so if we have 2 tokens, does this have attacks where you can define attack things, or are you going to essentially roll your dice? Say it's a d6, and I've rolled a 1.
It doesn't link to a character sheet, Sleeping Bell. You'd have to hold your character sheet separately. It will allow you to roll dice and see some stats towards the character. You'd probably need to handle actual character sheets somewhere else.
So on here, you would then go to this and you'd be like minus.
Which, to a degree, makes it a bit more system agnostic. It makes it easier to implement systems if you don't need to also implement character sheets in a specific way.
Well, thank you, Superwolf. Says their site says they are working on integrating with Hero Forge.
Ah, excellent.
I'm in.
I thought I'd read something in the Kickstarter info about looking into integration in the future, but again, it's just a how long does that development take kind of thing.
I feel like on this is still, I like this because this is still, I feel like having your own character sheet as well as playing this is still going to be a vital thing. Because like you can roll your dice in it, which I always think it's great, but some people prefer to roll, or the physical dice themselves. People buy dice to roll them. But obviously, you would probably still have your own character sheet and stuff to track. But having HP and set stats that you can set per token, I like. That's handy. Or you can set the tile name, size. I like that. Okay. So that looks like all the token options that you get. I don't think you get any extra options on other tokens apart from the attack option. Which is cool. That's nice. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely can see myself running a game with this. I've now got this previous and next thing stuck in the middle of my screen. I don't know if any of you seen this.
That's because you're in turn-based mode. That's to move turns.
Again, it's always great to have Kadari in. Oh. My turn. It's just me, so. Let's see mode. Grab a shot. I don't know how this works.
Cutscene mode allows you to predefine a sequence or to move through a sequence live as the DM to move your camera, and the players just see your camera rather than having their own camera controls. They're just viewing your camera throughout cutscene mode. So you can have pre-built
so you could
images you drop into, and then you can move the camera through. Yeah, and sort of zoom into a new NPC as it appears and
like this.
Give the introduction while you're zooming in on an NPC.
You look across the room. There's a figure drinking a pint of beer whilst laughing manically with the light of a fire. It has to be out of focus when it's a new character.
Fair.
And then also I can grab this as a shot, and then I go, his name is John, the bearded man.
Excellent.
So how do I do this now? So I've grabbed my 2 shots, Josh. What do I do?
I have no idea. I've never used it.
Right. Oh, I can just send the shot to players.
There you go.
Oh,
send
I
the
see.
Shot to players.
So any of my players would now be seeing that shot, and then I can send the next shot to them. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you could definitely do that for monologues and shit. The heat is killing me, Cry. My PC is between my legs. Not good.
Bit warm.
Yeah. On that note, I think I've looked at enough of the bare essentials. Like I said, we're not going to go through a full-on delve into this, but what we are going to do now is Kadari has been tampering with. So you're going to load up your first map for us.
I'm in the process. I will show you bits and pieces. I've been working on these maps during the time that we've been talking, so you can get an idea of sort of what has been done over the hour 42 we've been running, other than having out to look at chat and talk to Infinity.
Just whilst Kadari gets that set up so we can join. So like I said, you've got a tutorial thing, which I'm going to definitely pay more attention to now. I genuinely didn't learn any of this so that I could do a first view on this for you guys. Campaign and board sections we've looked at. The boards, you've got different worlds in, that's good. So the atmosphere, let's have a quick check on the atmosphere before we jump off. So ambient, we can cavern dry. I think that just adds in those effects. Turn the ambient up. Yep, that definitely sounds like a cavern dry. Farm day. Oh, there's a cow. Default sky. Oh, so we've got daylight settings, nighttime. Oh, some of my items glow. Wizard's torch on. Like this. And I don't know what this is. Oh, ooh, we can rotate the sun around. Default sky, green slump. Darkness. And space. Ooh. Oh, I like the space. Giant is floating now. Definitely now. How does the darkness work with dark vision? I don't know.
I don't believe we can define dark vision on a token. Don't think that's an option. Although the darkness is just a visual anyway.
Because that's one thing I would be interested on is, do the tokens have vision distance and stuff? Players?
Not really. Again, it's sort of what Redley said earlier. Its intention is to mimic the sort of effects that you get playing with an actual table. So it's not really... Sorry, you're not so much looking at vision cones and such as... Like, the players standing above the table would see the entire table. But you can change how you light that table. How's this suddenly... I tab back in, you've turned into Sin City.
I know, so there's post effects of just having anything red isolated, everything else is grey. A whole campaign. I mean, if Mark's watching this, I could see a whole Blades campaign done like this.
This is just Sin City. You've made Sin City.
I know. I like it. Bleach greens, I take it that's... Okay.
Let me provide our erstwhile streamer with an invite code.
Yeah, so there's some nice atmosphere settings there. So you get, you know, as well as having your floor tiles and everything, you can really play around with that. Oh, I love the Sin City. Yeah, so you've got some atmosphere settings there. There's the tutorials. There's the player invite. There's the campaign where you can find your stat boards. So we've had a look at the cutscene. Exploration mode, saying you just don't have a term timer, so everyone opens. Cool. Had a look at all the different items that you can build in the build mode, which is cool. I think we'll just have a quick look at the game settings you have here. So you've got your standard resolutions for your monitors and shit. That goes all the way up to 2715 to 1527. So you widescreen boys out there will be happy. Window mode, VSync as always. Change username. If you're in the beta, you will have an access key. I don't. I wasn't. You can change the UI scale, so that's always handy for some people. Oh my god, that's too big. Okay, there's no... You want to agree to... But yeah, so that's good. Some people... I know some people... I prefer smaller. Yeah, that's nice. What else have we got? Screen, space effects, depth of field. Screen space, ambient occlusion, chromatic aberration. I have no idea what any of these is. Shadow resolution. On high, shadow quality, hard and soft. Texture, full res. It's pretty. It's not bad settings. Other settings. Fill region with fog. Move frog region. Blinks. Fog. Oh, fog of war. There is a fog of war on this.
There is fog of war. The fog of war is experimental currently. Okay. We won't use it because sometimes it goes wonky and rather not.
Fine. Creature snap to grid. There you go. So I can turn that on. So now, yeah, there you go. Everything snaps to grid, which is much better for a game. Much. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and look, the big boys snap to grid. How does it do with tiny people? That one. I'm gonna make giant really small. Oh, so it puts it in the middle. It'd be nice if it was like 4s. Oh, the giant's fallen off the map. You can't get back up. Yeah, okay. That's cool. Interesting settings there. Definitely there. You'll push unsaved changes shortly. Click to push now. Oh, so it's got an autosave, but you can save early. So that's pretty cool. Right, so let's go have a look at Kadari. Who's probably done a bit more time on this than we have.
Not necessarily. I was doing this during the stream.
You sent me a link. Where did you send me a link? Oh, you sent
Discord. Excuse me? That crane fly just flew in front of my light. I got really confused.
Oh, I want to join. Request failure by code. Is this is gonna show the code when I type it into it?
Hey, it doesn't matter.
It does. Otherwise, everyone will join who's got the game. There we go.
Okay.
Superwolf says, according to the site, they are also hoping to work with D&D Beyond. Don't have any connection. Yeah, if they get some D&D Beyond integration, that would definitely make me want to do a full-on D&D campaign. 100%. Because then you could literally do your D&D character sheet on Beyond. I'd be again, if they don't, missed opportunity. But here I am. I'm a player in the Siren's Call, which is, so straight away, this is what a player does. I'm looking at the whole map. It's a hut on the ocean. I like it. How did I get here?
There was a boat.
There was a boat.
The boat has disappeared into the horrors of Talespire not having any boat tiles yet.
So I can move my character. I realise we didn't play with doors, but I'm going to imagine Kadari has a door, and we're going to see how they work.
So you approach the Siren's Call Tavern, the tavern on the dockside. This is
I would like to see a maximum range and draw a token.
Lack of dockside, but
fine, it's an abandoned dock. Where's the atmospheric music?
There is atmospheric music. Are you not hearing it?
No.
Interesting, because it is there. I wonder if this is a... Let me see if I have to change it again, like we do on bloody...
Rolls.
Okay. I've restarted all the atmospheric music for you. If it's still not working, there might be another control you need somewhere.
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay. I can move it up on my end with the mixer, see if that helps you. If not, I'm not sure, but...
Not hearing anything?
No. Music can be played, in theory. Is what we'll go with.
Oh, it went dark. Oh, I hear things.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I can hear music now. Everything changed.
I had to apply it to the board. It was...
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's good. So you can test it first?
Yeah, you can test it first. You can also change it. So I could say, like, you know, you come back in the morning and I could change how the lighting works and then apply that to the board for you.
Super fast. As a DM, would you be willing to pay a monthly sub fee to allow your players to use it for free?
There are systems that do that. Sometimes Fantasy Grounds did that. The DM paying a higher fee allowed the players to play for free rather than each player.
Yeah. I would. But
I think it can come up, but it's another thing that then becomes...
as a player, I'd rather
pay. To my list of reasons to choose this over another VTT.
Yeah. I think I would say, I definitely think they should do a player version at half price, maybe, or less, where they can just join as a player. They don't get the options to build stuff or create their own campaigns. They just get to play as a player. Maybe have that as a £5 or £10 option, or ideally as a free option, and it's just the GM who pays for the building features. That is where I think it should be. I don't think it's right for players to be paying the full game.
The price point is high for a player who just wants to join games, doesn't want to use building functionality.
I would say, though, as a player, personally, I wouldn't... If someone was doing a campaign on something like this, looking at it, as a player, I would be in. I'd be like, yeah, it's, for me... That cost of £20, that's... I've seen actual games that look less good as this, and if you're playing a campaign, that £20 as a player, you've got to see that as you're buying a game, in theory then. And bear in mind, you only paid for it once. It'd be interesting to see if when they do DLC, if players have to buy the DLC to be able to see it as well. That's where I'll get annoyed. If they do that... That's why I think that's a big no-no.
Okay, so our eponymous hero Ognav should be able to right-click on doors to open them. In theory. Give that a try.
No. Oh, I do! Ogna would like to open a thing.
And then I am prompted to allow you to open the door. You can't just open it like you can in Foundry.
Can vaguely see through the door.
Allow you to open the door. At which point the door will animate opening.
Oh, and look, I walked in and the roof disappeared. Oh, look at that. I like that. Oh, and it is actually... So at the moment, I can't see everything, but when I step in, I do see more tokens. So there is sight in.
Yeah, there's some degree of vision blocking.
Just not length of sight. That's cool.
They're also in the lighting in here because I forgot about it, so.
I moved forward and a roof appeared in front of me. That's not very helpful.
I just hit N, November.
N.
And it'll cut away the walls.
Oh, okay, that's a handy feature. Alternatively, I guess I can adjust this on my bar and remove.
Yeah, you can adjust the drawing
myself.
height on your bar as well.
Not that removed.
So you have multiple options for how to view that, whether you want to see the walls around you or not.
I like having the customer, player. I can dictate things, sort of thing. Yeah, I walk in. Oh.
You can see around the room here there are several drunken NPCs and various.
Hello.
These are all. Everything outside is from the harbour set, obviously. All the docks from the harbour set. Everything in here is from the tavern tile set, apart from the drunken people who are obviously from tokens. So you can see what a tile set would look like all put together.
Can you... I know I didn't work this out myself. Can you give my character a morph so I can look at the morphing?
I can, yes. Sorry. I didn't set that up, but I was thinking about it because it's something to discuss, because there's not many systems that allow it, so... Let me allow Ognav to move into...
I do like the line of sight thing.
Looking for a bear for a second.
I think if they get a distance sight, then I think that's really good. A line of sight is great. But I think a distance sight would be good, especially if you had, different characters with different vision lamps and everything. Suppose it's one of them. If you walk into a lit pub, you're going to see everything then.
Okay, give me 1 second. The polymorph feature released today out of its beta, and I'm not quite sure how it works yet. Give me 1 second.
Oh, the polymorph is the full morphing. Oh, fine. Yes, I mean, so you can see straight away Kadari's...
You can drag a library item over a creature, apparently. So if I drag a bear onto you, it should prompt me to allow you to morph into a bear and not just drop a bear on you.
Okay, drop a bear on me.
It is actually just dropping a bear on you. Give me 1 second.
I'm morphing into a bear.
Supposed to define somewhere else.
I'd be happy to pay for a 5-player license for streaming. Most people aren't choosing this for streaming. Yeah. One of them though is like, if you did that, would you have specific? Yeah, that you'd only have 5 players. I do think players should have it free to be able to join in. Go to the tavern and a bear falls. Gonna happen.
Yeah, there's. Sorry, you'll have to give me a moment on this.
So you had 4 players and yourself. You're basically talking £100 for 5 people to play this.
Oh.
I don't know.
I have figured it out.
I noticed I'm floating.
Now, apologies, I also made you fly. That was a misclick. But if you open your morph menu now, you will then have the option to morph into the beasts that your dwarven heritage allows you to morph into. Bears and wild boars.
Yeah, I'm more sold on them. Bear carries torch. I like this is good. Again, if this comes into Hero Forge, and you can have like different. I mean, I'm thinking of characters with different clothes and like fighting gear and sleeping gear.
Yeah.
Oh, I would be well.
Well, one I've used a lot in the last couple of years. One of the players in the Blacklaw campaign, who had a alternate form she could switch into. That meant I had to change her token to indicate the separate form. And this is a great example for that. If I could get the 2 Hero Forge models and put them into here as morphs of each other, so that she had the normal model and the more feral that were clearly the same person with 2 variants, rather than necessarily swapping into an animal form, It's swapping into a slightly different version of the same form.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everyone in chat at the moment. I don't think players should be paying the same price as a GM for something like this. There definitely should be a discounted price, or full stop. I think it should be free. I think a player should be able to log in for free, be able to use it, because at the end, and I'd happily pay a higher price as the GM. Like, for something like this, I would happily pay like 30, 40, 50 quid sort of thing if it was free for the player. Because it's me that's paying for, it's me that needs the tool. The players don't. This is to help enhance my campaign and to make it fun for the players.
Yeah. And it also comes a bit back into the sort of, there's a lot of VTTs on the market, and a lot of us who have used various VTTs have spent money on various things. And that could be a reason not to swap. And if you need all your players to spend 20 quid or 10 quid, whatever, if you ask all your players to spend 10 quid on Talespire, it's a big reason not to swap away from Talespire, because everybody's then invested.
Yep.
And if you're also spending money on asset packs as paid DLC, etc., you're spending more money. Stop attacking the bartenders. I'm watching the stream. The more money you're spending on Talespire, the more likely you are to stick with it, as opposed to using something else. But so here's an example of a tavern map. We'll also take a look at just let me load a cyberpunk map with the newer tile sets.
Again, whilst I agree with all that, I feel like even as a player, there's value there in that 20 quid. Maybe not a little less. I mean, get it on when it's on sale. It's going to go on the Steam sale eventually.
Everything goes on the Steam sale eventually. I can bring players to this board somehow. I've forgotten how. 1 second.
I know, I'm waiting on the GM. I have to admit, though, I do think this would be really cool to run some sort of campaign off. 100%.
Players. Someone plays this board. That's the one.
What is the alien animation? The character does a little with his head. I'll show it if I have another token.
By permission, there you go. You have this guy in the centre of the street.
So if
This is future Ognav. He's Ognav of the future.
I'm trying to attack law enforcement now. Oops. There you go.
So it prompts me so that I can then say to you, yes, you make this attack. Or I can force you to then roll for it. So if you make that attack, I can say to you, okay, roll a d20, see if you hit the law enforcement officer.
So interestingly, when I would do a normal attack, it asks the GM. When I do magic missile, it just does it.
Yeah, because that's just an animation. So attacking actually prompts me so that I can now say to you, okay, roll a d20 and see if you hit that attack.
Okay, so where's my dice?
So hit space to open up your menus.
Oh. I then pick 1d20. Roll it on.
Everybody sees it on the board.
And I rolled a 9.
And everybody sees it in the chat, which you can open in the top right, the little book symbol.
I rolled a 9. So at this
I can
point,
say yes, that attacks, or I can say no, you miss, and then you don't get to make that attack. You don't animate at that point.
But if you did hit, you would manually have to change the value of the guard. That's not an automatic thing yet, right?
Yeah, there's nothing automated there currently.
Can you roll multi-dice? So I think yes, you can create a dice pool like this. So you can just keep clicking dice and then roll the whole lot. I don't know how to pick up the dice and tidy that up.
They'll disappear when someone else rolls.
I mean, the first dice didn't.
The
dice are piling up here.
What you can't do is roll sort of as multiple dice pools, which would be helpful. So let's say you're playing a system where you roll a d20 and a d6. You'd have to roll d20 plus d6, and then add them to your dice pool again, and so forth. We do need to clear some of these dice somehow.
I don't know how to clear the dice.
There you go. I can remove dice. But when I remove a dice, it removes all the dice from that roll.
And you can roll, let's see how many dice I can get. 40 dice in one go. A lot of dice. That's a bad roll for 40 d20s.
That's above average.
No, it's not. 800 would be Math.
Yep, I'm just going to let you do the math there.
And can you make macros for dice rolls such as your attacks? I don't think you can in this yet. I do vaguely remember them saying that was something that they were going to look into eventually. But
yeah, that's going to be another. It's on the roadmap for some point kind of thing.
Yeah, I should remind everyone, this is in a Steam early access. It is not a final product. They are still implementing a lot of stuff. But I mean, bare essentials. Roll dice. If you've got your own character sheets. No, I feel like having done Roll20 and if they don't have a system predefined and everything and their own character sheet, trying to do your own stuff, dead. It'd be nice if when they do implement character sheets on this, maybe they do presets. Who knows? Maybe they'll let you import your own or other people's who've already designed them. That'd be a great feat. Again, who knows? It's hard to say. It'd be great if it did. I definitely feel like this definitely could do a lot. I definitely am in for this. This is a great system already. Already, this has beaten a lot of systems that I've already used. Personally, I would rather use this than Roll20, but not at the expense of all my players having to pay for it. That's, yeah. Ooh, I like the street lamps. See, I mean, this looks beautiful.
We can see something you see a bit more in cyberpunk settings or in more modern settings, the variety of lights that you can place down just to sort of give some ambience to the area. And each one is going to create a light that is of varying brightness depending on what your current board settings are.
I have to admit straight away that I can see into these. But that's because you've not put roofs on, right? I'm going to imagine.
Yeah, I've not put roofs on. And also, again, coming back to the same thing of when you're looking at a table with a bunch of miniatures set up, you are seeing into everything in there, really.
But if you put roofs on, I wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see unless you moved into the room, or unless you, like you did before, used your build height to disappear the roof.
I don't think... Can we go back to that map and check that?
I could put a roof on this map if you want, but it does work that way, so... I'm telling you that because I know it works that way.
Right, okay, fair enough. If that was... that seems silly. Like, I shouldn't... I feel like if I'm not in a room and it's got a roof and got a door, I should be able to cheat my way to see what's inside.
The reason I didn't do it is there's not many things in the Cyberpunk asset set that work as roofs, so I just didn't.
So that I don't like, because as a GM, I wouldn't want my players to see rooms. So can you put a token in?
You have control of the token in the centre of the room. In the centre of the street, sorry.
No, I mean if you put a token in that room so I can see if I can see.
Oh, yes. My apologies. 1 second. There is a law enforcement
this shouldn't be a thing.
In there. He has a torch.
There is a... You say there's an enforcer in there.
There is an enforcer in there. He has a torch. And yes, you can't see him because you don't have functional visibility into the... Oh, he's on the roof. That's why. Never mind, you can't see him because he's on the roof. Now he's fallen outside the street. Just ignore me for a second.
I don't see him.
I put him on the roof and you can't see up on the roof. Let me... I'm now having trouble with the build height thing because now my guy's on the roof.
I'm looking on the roof and I don't see him now. I'm on the roof.
Go on creature. I've just deleted him.
Oh.
Because I was trying to make him not be on the roof.
Oh, I see. Oh. A roof tile just got deleted.
I'm just going to make a hole in the roof and drop a creature in it.
Sleepy Bill, I just don't think £30 is unreasonable. How much money have I sunk into video games, play with friends, but not true. As I said, as a player, I would be willing to pay that to play a game if someone had spent the time to make it on this.
Okay, so after a slight technical error, there is totally a creature inside the room.
There is an error creature inside the room. So if I look inside on my... I do not see the creature. If I now open the door...
You can see the interior of the room.
I can see the interior.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
But I'm happy with that. Can I open the door, please? Thank you.
Yes, and if you
If I
open the
now
door,
go
you
into
then
the room.
have access into the space.
Now, see, so that's not too bad, because what I didn't want is a player to be like, oh, I'm not going in that room. I can see there are 50 goblins in there.
But in the
Seeing
same
the
way,
layout.
this creature is shining a light through the door. Before you open that door, you did not see that light. Before you walked into that room, that creature didn't render for you. That's a situation where that creature should be visible through that door.
Well, here's a fun fact, though, is I cannot get that roof to disappear by adjusting the height. If I press N, I can see through the roof. But if I haven't got N and I adjust the height thing, I can't see through. Oh, no, hang on. Oh, is it?
Use the other height thing, the green one.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Sorry, yeah.
The green marker
My
is
mistake.
tile set height.
Yeah, so I can see in, I can see the layout, but I can't see what's in there until I physically go
Until you
in.
move in and have essentially a basic vision of the creature.
Yes, great. That's somewhat. I'd prefer it if you couldn't see the room at all. But
at the same time, it comes back to, like I was saying, their goal is also spinny things on this wall.
yeah, it's to
Just to point
replicate
out
that
the spinning
feel of a
things.
table.
Yeah, to replicate that feel of being an actual tabletop. I moved the creature onto the roof by accident, don't question it.
I definitely, for the fact of it's trying to replicate around the table feel with a bit more of the modelling, because there are people who make those models 100%. I definitely get that feel. For me, this feels like its own little type of VTTs, which a lot nicer sort of thing. I'd definitely be. Yeah, again to this, the money point, because I think the money point is the big sticking question for a lot of people. Again, me as a player, I would be willing to buy this to run someone's campaign at £20. For me, or $30 if you're in America. For me, I don't feel like that's a big ask. Bearing in mind, you play Dungeons and Dragons players, you buy the handbooks and they're like £20, £30. So if you buy the handbook to play the game, is it really mean to ask? I mean, I get it. Some people might not be in those situations, and you might want to play the game.
Player's handbook.
I do. I've got them all. It's. I can feel it being a sticking point for some people. But again, I don't know. For me, I think the value is there. And bear in mind, this is early access, so there's going to be a lot more. But I think the value is there, even as a player. Just more because you can right click on things and go magic missing.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing animation for magic missing. And I love how
Looks
it's
good in
slightly
darkness
different.
as well, because it brings up light. Same with the lasers. You get actual light effects coming off them as they move through the space. So in the darker map, we're at a sort of an evening time map now. I can make it complete darkness and it's practically impossible to see. Although I'll put some streetlights out now. But then you get the idea that the lasers really do affect the light a lot more.
Oh, I think that is nice. It's a nice little game. It'd be nice if they had more different effects in for doing different spells. I'd like to see like an AoE spell.
Yeah, there's definitely in the trailer they show spell templates, and I'm not sure how to trigger them. I'm not sure if they're in yet. But they are shown in the trailer that there are spell templates for cornel spells or for AoE spells.
Superwolf says he's checked the FAQ and some of the information we're talking about is actually in there. Great. But the seats are currently being restricted by Steam. So maybe it will come free for players.
Steam
then.
does sometimes. Steam has had some restrictions in recent years about
Definitely got sold on missile.
granting people temporary access. So this is the same conversation as friend pass is a term that's used a lot. So a lot of co-op games have a friend pass option now, where one player buys the game and the other player downloads a free demo off Steam, and they play together. That requires one player to buy the game, and Steam has some limits on how many people you can do that with. So one person can't essentially be responsible for 8 purchases, because Steam wants to make money.
So they've already asked the question about having reused seats in the game. Not currently. We have been asked, and it's something we look at. Maybe it could be as a standalone I mean, that would be good if you could, like,
reusable seats is a little bit of a different question, because reusable seats is I want to pay 4 times for the game, but use those 3 licenses across multiple players. So, like, I might have Andy in one game, but I have someone else in another game and I want him to use Andy's license, rather than having to pay for the game that many times.
Yeah, I think Super Wolf's on there as well. It is in early access, and that probably is restricted on Steam.
Yeah,
that's probably
Steam
true.
gives you a lot of restrictions on what you can sort of give away, as it were, for one purchase. So you can have, like I was saying before, you can have 1 friend pass on a 2-player co-op game, but you can't have 3 friend passes. You can't have 1 person allow 4 players to play your game. And you can't have 1 person allow 8 players to play at this table, for example. There's some point at which Steam requires you to purchase something.
Well, I would say, as of now, if you're a GM and this appeals to you, buy it, learn it, play with it, maybe get involved in the development. Get on. I'm sure they will have forums. Campaign, if your players are willing to pay for it, great. Otherwise, in the future, maybe that might be a thing where they can join without having to pay. But again, it's 20 quid. 20 quid, $30. Is that really a big ask for a player?
Oh, it could be.
It
I mean,
could
if it's
be.
a player that plays in your game once a week, once a fortnight, they don't really have 30 quid of, disposable income for playing a game once a fortnight.
I would say, though, if you go to real places in the UK, I know some places charge you like a turnout fee, like a membership fee to use their premises.
A lot of local game stores will charge you, 2 quid a head, 3 quid a head for a table. A lot of the time that goes back into the DM as well. Like, a ton of local game stores will ask players to charge 2 quid a head for the table, or instead of that, buy snacks and drinks from them, from their vending machines, whatever. But that money that you charge the table goes into a sort of store credit for the GM, which encourages the GM to come back, encourages the players to come back, but nobody feels like they're paying money to the store because it's all going back to your DM.
Good point there, Redley. £20 is the current going rate to hire a GM for an hour.
It can be,
Professional
for
GMs.
very high class. A lot of them tend more towards £5-10 range, but yeah, potentially you could be paying for a GM per session at that rate. And instead of that, you're paying once for however many sessions. But again, if you aren't, like we were saying before, if you aren't going to use this as a building tool, if you're only using it from a player perspective, there's a lot more arguments against spending 20 quid on this from a player side, when you're only going to use it once a fortnight to roll, 17 dice? Roll a bunch of dice, or to move a token around once a fortnight.
Yeah.
It's a bit more than paying 20 quid for all these mapping tools, and you can roll some dice and move a token around once a fortnight.
I would like to see, Superwolf's kind of mentioned it there, and that's something that I did think. I would like to see an integrated inventory system in this, where you can literally keep a track of what's in your inventory. Again, at the moment you're probably just going to have to use a character sheet. I don't think there's anything like this in this. I only have.
Well, it does have the stats, I assume, retain on a unique character between.
Your stats change, but if I wanted to keep track of, like, I feel like there should be a BIOS, basically a character sheet, full on, just more than the stats. Maybe it's something that they may introduce, but I wouldn't say that's a problem for me, because it's like, again, just have a character sheet. PDFs, you can get fillable PDFs so easily now for most games. If you're doing like D&D, I use Beyond system or pen and paper. I mean, I don't think it's a vital thing to have. Nice too, just to be able to keep track, and then it makes it easy for your GM to monitor things. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people don't do inventory management. How many games I've been in where the food, we don't do food stuff and make sure you've got the right food for days and stuff. It depends how far your GM wants things, but yeah, 100% though, I'm down with this. I'm not that I bought it. I'm glad I bought it. I definitely will be playing around with it. And if anyone is interested in buying it and maybe running a campaign, let me know. I definitely would be up for doing that. Even just to try it out on stream as a one shot. Might see.
Did that.
No, I mean doing a proper one shot on stream with it. I definitely feel like a Cthulhu adventure could be done in this, or some spacey adventure. Yeah, Sleeping Bell's going to buy it and would love to run a campaign. But I'll tell Ange that you're doing it for us.
Ange won't be interested. She doesn't like it.
Oh. Yeah, KeenKitchen. I think it looks nice, but it would be no good for me. I like OTM with just maps, and yeah, it's one of those things. I think everyone's slightly different to what they want in a game like this. Personally, I would love being a game like this just because it's a bit more visual. I mean, I'm a fan of round the table. If I'm going to be round the table doing a map, I like having 3D maps on the table where there's actual things to work it on. Some people prefer it flat. Some people don't even want maps, and I'm definitely down for games running maps. I ran quite a bit of my Mutants and Masterminds without any maps because it was all about just the story.
I just didn't want maps.
Couldn't find anything decent. And I didn't want to, and I tried making maps in Roll20, and Roll20 just lagged the hell out for a lot of people. So I stopped doing it.
Super Classics, we tried moving the menu using your arrow keys. Which you can do, it goes by grid space, which is nice.
Can I actually go in? Oh my god. Can I do it with WASD? No. Camera moves WASD though. Oh, Super Wolf. You have brought a whole new level to this. I'd like to know how you get up on things. Oh, can I just go onto the roof? Oh, I can! Ah!
This tile set does include some ladders, so...
I found an easier way into this building than using the door.
I didn't put roofs on any of these buildings, mate.
Oh, I'm on the street now. What happens if I bump into a character? Oh, I merge.
Yeah, Leo, the point of this stream was that we hadn't looked into any of it beforehand. This was a completely first look, so...
Yeah, so Kadari has owned this for a while. Were you on Kickstarter for this?
No, I've owned it for a little time. I haven't really used it that much because I'm not a fan of 3D mappers, but I was aware of it. I gave it a try.
I was aware of it on the Kickstarter, never backed it. Bought it on Steam the other day, and I've not played it until this stream. So everything on this stream is me looking at it for the very first time. And I asked Kadari to come with a bit of experience to be able to show off things off. The program does look so good, and honestly, from what I've done trying around with the building thing, it's not ridiculously hard to get to grips. Again, I would say the building's very much like The Sims. Menus are nice and simple, click, drop. The repositioning's not ridiculous. Yeah. I've not read any instructions on how to do it, and I picked it very quick. So it's not... It is user-friendly, it is intuitive. I don't think... For me, I definitely think it's a good system. I'd definitely put it up there.
It's not a bad building tool, but it comes back to the same conversation I have about all mapping tools, essentially. If this increases my prep time more than it increases my players' enjoyment, it's not really worthwhile investment for me, because I have to do a lot of prep before a session, especially if it's a streamed session. And if that prep involves spending twice as long as I usually would on a mapping tool because of the third dimension and because of the limited asset packs, that's a problem for me because I want to have some free time occasionally to finish Stray.
It's fun.
It's a 4-hour long game, I've still not finished it.
I suppose though a lot of that is if they do allow, if there's a community who build the maps and share them and you can import them. I know you probably said there was and I couldn't work it out, but if there's a simple way to click and drag buildings in that people have done, that cuts down your prep time so quickly. And if it's all integrated using all the same assets that are the main game, should be great. Again, I'll be definitely interested to see how they handle DLC and how that works. Great to see if player can become free or cheaper rates. That would be ideal, but again, I don't think the base price for this game regardless is ridiculous. I mean, what's the Roll20 subscription for DM? Now, if you're buying the subscriptions on those services, save that up for what, a couple of months. You basically could just buy all your players this system, and it's a one-off payment.
It's true. But it's this system and whatever else you need, because this isn't handling character sheets currently. Even if Tailweaver would in future handle the character sheets for you, that would still be limited by system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for Foundry, I'm paying sort of, what is it, £10 for a Foundry subscription and £5 for Forge hosting, so I don't have to locally host.
Yeah.
But within that, I also get, the full VTT and all of the character sheet content, the access to all the module libraries, and the ability to introduce my own character sheets quite easily for other systems. That's all built in, doesn't involve my players having to find a separate program. If I did, for example, this and D&D Beyond, my players need to pay for D&D Beyond as well as paying for this per month to have access to character sheets that they still have to tab out of this system for.
Yeah. Be good. I mean, if they integrate it, that'd be great. If they add just a basic character sheet that you can create yourself, that'd be great.
You can go ahead and link in chat, Leo. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. You shouldn't be fine. I don't think.
If it's anything suspicious, I'm going to delete it. But
if it's a picture of me,
if it's a picture of Andy, definitely. We all want those.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. So there is Hero Forge linking. By the looks of it, yeah. You have to purchase it as a 3D digital file from Hero Forge, which is the same price as an STL, but it's a separate purchase. So if you're also looking to 3D print your miniatures, you'd have to buy both. And then you can introduce the Hero Forge miniature into... Yeah, simple enough.
So would that have to be on your GM's account for you to use it, or can you then...
players can link it in by the looks of this. I'm just skimming this page that Superwolf linked. Players can introduce it into the campaign, and then the GM, because the GM has to spawn creatures, the GM can see that creature in the list and drop it in. And then give you access to your Hero Forge panel. And then, like I was saying earlier, if you have the character that morphs, if you have a character that has a couple of different looks that they've made in Hero Forge, they can import all of those looks and you can put those in as polymorphs.
Oh, I'm in. I'm well in now. There it is. I found it in the menu. Yeah. Hero Forge access key. I'm in. I'm playing a game. I'm definitely playing this. Yeah. I give this a 10 out of 10. I like it. And 10 out of 10, it is in alpha. It's like, yeah. Oh, well, I think...
last time I looked at it, Hero Forge charged in US dollars for everybody, so it might still be $7.99 US, depending on what you are.
I mean, yeah. There you go. Bye.
Yeah, it's still charging US dollars, so it's $7.99 US dollars plus transaction fees if your bank charges you for foreign transactions. And then you've got it, and then you can drop it into Talespire. If you have 2 miniatures, you'll need to pay it twice.
Yeah. Definitely happy with this. I do think there's some work that needs to be done, but as it says right up at the top, work in progress, as well as bugs. It is in early access. I think as it stands now, I think there's definitely value for that money. I don't think you're going to be buying that £20 and be disappointed in what you get. I'm not disappointed. I'm very pleased. The state that it's in, I definitely think I could run a game with this. I definitely think I would enjoy being a player on a game with this.
Yeah, I think given the prep time, you could make something quite impressive with this, especially with things like access to the cutscene functionality as well. That if you have the time to set those things up before you start playing, you have more options then to tell your story in that way using this system.
Yep.
And we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend it. I mean, I don't know what that is to anyone. I recommend probably not much.
They came here to hear your recommendation. That's what the title says.
That's true. I recommend it. I think it's a very nice system. It's quite well polished, and it is in early access for that as well. I definitely will be looking more into where it's going to go. But again, I think the features that are already there, you could do something with very easy. Yes, you'll need your own character sheets, but that's like sometimes your own character sheet's better than VTT anyway. But if they add it, that'd be great. Could be on the roadmap. I'm going to definitely go and have a bit of research into this and look into it now. I didn't do it because I wanted to be really fresh on this. Now I've done this stream, I am going to be fully invested in it. I'm going to be reading up on their blogs, chasing up and see where we are at. May even do like an update stream later on after a few months, see if anything big changes, and definitely if I can get a bunch of people, definitely look at maybe doing a stream with this system on. I think it's very good for streams. I definitely think it'd be good for streams. Definitely a lot more to it, and hell, I just like the menu. You don't get that in many VT. Nice menu, nice music, crackling fire, whole bunch of. There you go. That was IMT first look at Talespire. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned it. If you be great. I mean, we've seen a lot of reactions from chat, but I'm happy to take this over to Discord and we'll talk about it in Discord. Let us know if you think what you think, and if you think you're going to buy it, if you have bought it. If you're going to run a game, or if you have run a game, let me know. I'm definitely interested to find out. Jump into our Discord. See how this goes. I definitely think there's something here with this system. I definitely think it brings a lot more to the table than a lot of other VTT. And ironic.
Yeah, I mean, between this and Croy's planning to run something in one of the various VR VTTs as soon as those are suitably available. So we'll have some time in the future, maybe later this year, maybe next year, to look at things like this from a running perspective as well. We'll get this running at some time slot. We'll get Croy's VR game running at some time slot, and we'll see. Sort of explore these wide variety of VTTs compared to what we normally stream.
Yep. Well, so I hope
to make something.
Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've hoped you've learned something. I mean, if we made you realise that you don't want to buy this, that's great as well. If we've helped you make a decision on this, brilliant. And like I said, I know we've not fully delved into it, but that wasn't the intention. This was a skim over. Hoped you've enjoyed it. I've hoped you got something from it, and if anything, you've nice new system.